137 Course in Miracles, and the subject is forgiveness is the key to happiness. And you might say, is it? Somebody else might say, amen. Somebody else might say, tried that and I'm still not happy. And there could be many other answers. But this was actually one of my lessons for the day here this week. And when I think about it, when there's unforgiveness or unsettledness, unrest, you're not happy, right? You're distracted, annoyed, and many other words we can associate. But really, all that needs is forgiveness. You can forgive yourself. You messed up, right? You can forgive that other person. They're not alert, aware, they messed up. Now, I get it. There's some situations like, I'm never forgiving that. We'll get there. We've talked about that in the past too, by the way, but I know not everybody watches all the videos and not everybody remembers them. And honestly, I don't remember what I say some of the times either, but forgiveness is the key to happiness. What if it was? What if it really was? Which, if it's in the Course in Miracles, it is truth. It is a key to happiness. So it's a true thing that is truth. Not necessarily worldly true, because you're still struggling to overcome it and figuring it out. But truth is forgiveness is the key to happiness, is what it says here. So let me explain a scenario that just happened to me recently, and more in real estate, and not even a big deal, just a subtle thing. I'm working on Course in Miracles stuff every day in the book, doing the videos occasionally, and normally super kind, courteous, helpful to the agents, helpful to the buyers and sellers. Every once in a while, I get somebody that I can tell it's just not going to work. And whatever they're saying, I just kind of, hey, this is not going to work. We're not going to work. I'm sorry, but we got to move on, and it's not going to work. So, and we move on, and normally it's fine, and then sometimes you got to work with somebody. Like, for example, we have real estate agents on the other end of transactions, and many of them do well, and it goes well. And sometimes people are learning and they don't know as much. And I've been doing it a while. Not that I know everything or I'm perfect or I never screw up, but in general, I know what I'm doing on almost any circumstance more than most people because of all the business we do. And then I'm not expecting everybody to know everything. But I had this call where the person was like, I'm a busy guy, busy week, and let's get to the what we're trying to work on and answer the question. I was trying to verify basically that the buyer agent and the buyer knew what parcel they were buying. Like, hey, it is this parcel here, right? And it was taking a while to get on the computer, no big deal. And then I'm like, can you screenshot it? And then they're trying to figure out that. I'm like, I can let you go, and then you can screenshot it, send it, and we'll communicate. And it was just, they're on the other end acting like they've never been online or never looked at an app or probably never helped somebody buy land. And it was like, wow, this is annoying to me. And I was annoyed. So basically I got annoyed and told them, like, I got to go. Like, this isn't going to work if you don't know what you're doing, which it's not. It's not going to work in real estate if people don't know what they're doing. But then after the fact, I felt bad that I said that because I was annoyed and I told them, and then they were defensive and told me I shouldn't be talking like that. And this happens in life, right? And I'm sharing this here because at the end of the day, I was like, well, I messed up. It's my error that I didn't have infinite patience, which is one thing I try to work on. And after the fact, I feel bad, more probably towards myself for my failure of what I'm working on. Also feel bad for making the other person feel bad. And then it's like, that's a forgiveness struggle. It's like, I messed up. So when you mess up, in general in life, you feel like you should feel down and out and bad. And it can hinder your day. Sometimes it hinders. I know people who I can just tell they're hindered for their whole life. Like their whole life is hindered and they're unforgiveness of their self or other people. I do tend to move on, but it takes me a little bit to process it. So when you're processing it, I can 100% say it's not happiness. Everything else could be going well. It's a little bit of stress and definitely a hindrance. So why I'm bringing this up and again, share it in a conversation with an example of me messing up, because I think it's good to say, hey, I'm not perfect at this and I mess up. But also, there's not happiness when you're not forgiving yourself or other people. There is some kind of hindrance. When you can forgive yourself or somebody else or the situation or whatever it is, then you can have happiness. I'm not saying forgiving's instantly happiness, but not forgiving is for sure not happiness. For sure not happiness if you don't forgive. So that is the reason I am telling you in the way I am. You can look back at everything going on and say, unforgiveness for sure stops happiness. Forgiveness may not instantly be happiness, but constant forgiveness, eternal forgiveness, would lead you to truth and keep you in happiness. As we learn that and do better, we'll get there. As we don't forgive, if that's what we do, no happiness. Yeah, there's these temporary things that make us happy for a few seconds, minutes, moments, days, but true happiness, you have to forgive.